Welcome back, listeners, to the Mindful Journey, the space where we pause, reflect, and explore how to bring more presence into our everyday lives. I'm your host, Sana, as always, and listeners, today for this episode, we are going to dive into something that feels more and more important than ever: how we can bring mindfulness into our daily lives. And let me introduce my guest to all of you. So she's an incredible coach with nearly a decade of experience guiding people toward living lighter and more elevated lives. She's a wife, a devoted mom to her young homeschooled daughter, and she even shares her heart with the sweetest dog. So before coaching, she worked in a wide range of fields, from restaurants and psychic bookshops to mergers and acquisitions and teaching, which to me, listeners, it gives her a unique lens on life's many challenges and transitions. So she overcomes struggles in nearly every area, whether it's marriage, pregnancy, work, health, and how she helps others connect deeply with their higher selves. So get ready for an honest, relatable, and at times challenging conversation that will leave you thinking differently about what mindfulness can really look like. So with that, I introduce my guest, Samantha Kane. Samantha, welcome to the show, and it's such an honor to have you here with us.
Hi, Sana. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Beautiful, beautiful. Samantha, I must say, um, you know, it's such. I think it's. I shouldn't say it's not a privilege. It's. I mean, I would be really thankful if I would have such a varied experience. And I must say that you have worked in so many fields. You are kind of handling so many things from the personal and professional life, so I think it will be really a very, very interesting and a profound conversation specifically on mindfulness. So with that, I'll just begin with this, that many people, whenever they hear about mindfulness, it is something like, you are sitting quietly or you're meditating, long and long hours and minutes of meditation, which can feel overwhelming. So, from your experience, what does mindfulness actually look like in everyday life?
What an intro. Thank you. That was very well said. And thank you so much. Well, it really is exactly how you are describing it, in that
Mhm.
we get so overwhelmed so easily because as we grow, we're tackling on more and more responsibilities in our life. And it often seems like a daunting task. How in the world am I going to add more to my daily life? Where am I going to fit in this time? I don't have time. I'm a busy mom. I'm a busy dad. Whatever you're doing in your life, parent or not. I always say that that term, parent or not, it doesn't matter. Everybody's busy. As human, we tend to, even if you had one thing that you had to do in the day, for some reason, we are programmed to feel like it's so much. And so, to the people that have, 30 things to do in a day, or maybe just a couple, it's really a mindset. And it's to learn how to unravel the program of where we once came, where we came from, where our family members instilled, where society instilled, where educators instilled the ways to be and the ways to live in this rush, rush, rush world. And that's the very first thing we need to do, because anybody can look up online how to add mindfulness to your life, but really, that's an easy answer. And like you said, yes, Sana, we can meditate and we can journal and we can do breath work and we can do all these things. And I do have my clients incorporate that as well as I do myself. Everything that I offer to my clients, I do personally. But the
Mhm.
big bridge to gap is to set intention, to have the appropriate mindset, to breathe through every single thing that we're doing when we are implementing these mindfulness habits into our life, because we're not going to uh, feel the positive implications and be able to reinforce them in a helpful manner or in a sustainable manner if we don't get in the mind frame to do it the way we need to, and again sustain it properly.
Mm. And Samantha, thank you for sharing that. And one particular word that you mentioned is habit. And often, you also mentioned that there are so many resources online available, whether it's research or articles or even, in fact, AI. Right today, we can just give a command and AI can suggest us so many ways to incorporate mindfulness. But when it comes to habit, and especially initially, it's like we have to kind of put a lot of effort into making it a habit. And in the process of doing that, let's say if we are facing a bit of failure or setback, we are not able to incorporate that particular practice, even if it's for 15 minutes or 30 minutes or 5 minutes, we kind of, start judging ourselves. We kind of start judging our capabilities, and that
Mhm.
once again becomes a very vicious loop. So you absolutely said it right that it's the intention. um, it should come organically, not something like forced upon.
That is so true. And that's the point of it all. And I think that unfortunately is, or fortunately, perhaps the way, depending on the way you want to look at it,
Mhm.
when we do something incorrectly or not as well, sometimes I just like to look at it as an opportunity to course correct. So even if we rush through something, it's like, that's fine. Everybody has to start somewhere. And then you can find those pockets of, okay, I could have done that better. And instead of the judgment, turn it around. And I always love to use the word opportunity because it's a very positive word and it interchanges the the doubt, the judgment, the fear, and just those moments of I can't do it or I'm not meant for this. And then we fall out of the course of trying, it's like I'll give you an example for uh somebody with an addiction. They really really want to get out of this bad habit, right? Now
Yeah.
they're on track. It's only been a few days, maybe it's been a couple weeks or a few months, and they're seeing the progress. They're having some pride along the way, but they do dishonor and disjustice to themselves so much because they tend to pair this progress with judgment. And when the judgment overrides the progress, then somehow this is how we're going to get into a downward spiral and sabotage our um, happy trajectory. And everything
Mm.
takes time. And it's always, I mean, it really is a step by step thing. But you have to, as you unravel and as you go through new habits, whether they are, something simple like, I know, man, I need to wake up a little bit earlier so I could be on time, or whatever it is, all the way through, trauma, addiction, things like that. Whatever extremity it is, it's all the same manner in which you need to proceed with having any type of success. It's just knowing that there's not going to be success in the process and that you're not reaching a destination at the end of, okay, task completed, now it's done. There's no end point to the progression because it gets easier because now if a new habit is created, then we have um, it becomes a little bit more automated.
Right.
However, that doesn't mean that we can't easily revert back to the prior habit. So there is maintenance to be done there as well. But as far as someone stepping into it and starting it and starting the process, starting the journey, it's just being gentle with yourself and allowing grace for a new space to do something different. And it's such a beautiful thing to do in your life because it's like we are born, we are told, we are programmed, we have all these things that are thrown at us, and half of them or maybe more aren't even us. And so when I keep saying the word unravel, it's because we have to break away from the things that don't align with us. And furthermore, they keep ever changing throughout our life. We evolve, and so we have to continuously unravel a little bit more and then envelop something new, and it's like this beautiful dance between, letting go and release and then integrating new beautiful habits into your life that make sense at that time as you
Mm.
live your life.
Very rightly put. Very rightly put, Samantha. Okay, now, um, and this is a bit coming from a personal perspective, Samantha, because I think this is one of the most interesting phase of any person. It can be. Now, people often associate mindfulness with being calm and peaceful, but life can be chaotic, especially for parents, um, or caregivers, those who are juggling multiple roles. So, how do you suggest practicing mindfulness in the middle of all this messiness?
That is such an excellent point. That's wonderful. Thank you for bringing that up.
Uh-huh.
This is very important. The first thing I would say to you or someone or even myself is that we must accept this role that we are inviting into our life. Whatever change we want to make, again, big or small, doesn't matter. It could be the tiniest little thing. Like, I want to do my dishes, every night before I go to bed. I don't want to wake up with them in the morning. I mean, it can
Yeah.
be anything because habits are a daily thing that whether you notice or not, they're there. We all have a million habits that we deal with every day. We just don't think about that word. It's just kind of like we think of that as it's just what we do, right? But it's two things, Sana. It's acceptance and awareness. It's when we accept that, okay, this is what it is, and we take ourselves along for the ride without allowing emotion to get the better of us, but also at the same time allowing emotion to come in. Like, okay, I made a mistake. Uh-oh, I fell off the wagon. Oh man, I did the wrong thing. I said I wasn't gonna do that, and now it's been 2 days in a row and I didn't work on it and I'm mad at myself. Okay, that's fine. So it's like you set it aside and you forget it. You allow the emotions to go through and then
Mhm.
you set them aside. So you're acknowledging them. So we could say three A's here. We are accepting, we're acknowledging the emotions, the feelings that we're going through. We set them aside. And then with that, we have an overall awareness that, and they all pair together. You can't have acceptance without awareness and awareness without acceptance. And then also paired with acknowledgement because all of that combined is really going to help soften and make everything more gentle because as you said, we sit in
Mhm.
fear like I'm not good enough to make this change. I don't think I can do this. This habit is more powerful than me, but that is mindset. That is our brain playing tricks on us. We have these monkey brains that they scramble, and they make a mess, and they make things feel chaotic, and they let our emotions just run too far away where we're not able to manage them. And that's a place we don't want to be. We want to allow ourselves to feel what we're feeling, but we also need to manage ourselves and compose ourselves and get everything back together so that we have some order of a semblance. We have some kind of strategy matched with the actual work, because a lot of people think, oh, well, I made an idea up in my head, and then they don't really do the work for long enough. They're not consistent. And then they just magically feel like it's enough, and then they should be done. And then that's just it. And then they're upset when it all goes kablooey and it just doesn't happen, or it's not sustained, or, they revert back. So there is a way to do this. It's different for everybody,
Mhm.
depending on your personality. Some people have an easier, way about change. Most people don't. But however it goes, the prescription for it for yourself is to have the um, awareness, acknowledgement, and acceptance, and pair those all together and run with it. And don't take things so seriously. Fear is a very serious, ardent place when and it's okay to not feel calm through a process. You're not going to. I mean, that's just the honest truth. No one's going to feel fully calm making a change in their life. They're going to feel a little bit up and down, and that's okay. But once you allow yourself to just go through it and be gentle, it'll pan out, it'll work.
Wow. Acceptance, awareness, and acknowledgement, and I can really picture um a clear river. It's flowing, yet the water is kind of clear, uh, and still that we can see deep through that. I kind of can connect a lot with this particular picturization of how we can accept, and yet we are aware of those moments where emotions would take the better of us. So I think that's a very, very kind of very interesting way to frame this, Samantha.
Thank you. And yeah, we have to reframe it and rewire our brains. And that's why, as I said, anybody can look up anything. And as you said as well, anyone can research, anyone can find a resource for something. But sometimes, if it's not an easy task, if it's something where we feel like we need additional support and we need help, I mean, that's what I do day in and day out for myself all the time. I am a living, working practice every
Yeah.
single day for decades. I work on myself, and that's why this translates to my clients organically, because I know what the work is. I've been there. I've been through the failures, the successes, all the in-betweens, the befores, the afters. And so I really understand from a big perspective everything surrounding it, all the emotions that go with it, and what it takes. And so I love to see that with my clients once they implement all these and much more from the tools that I offer. um it's people people in this space of coaching and podcasts and um all these, holistic practitioners, and um I have some wonderful fitness instructor friends, and I have so many people that I know and don't know, but just respect even from a distance. That there's so much you can learn from just from a conversation, whether they're helping you personally or not. And that's why I love um, your podcast, because you offer such a great, um, great topics and great perspective and great conversations for people. And that's really where it is. It's in the conversations that even when you hear yourself talking out loud, you
Mhm.
learn so much from another human. And that is priceless.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Samantha, for that beautiful, connection that you made. I'm really, really thankful. And before we wrap up, uh, there's, it's bit of a nuanced, portion of the conversation that I would like to bring in here before we conclude. That, around mindfulness, there is a narrative that it can fix everything, whether it's stress, relationships, even physical health. But is there any limit, Samantha? I mean, are there times when mindfulness isn't just enough?
That's a great question. I want to say that because we are limitless, that the magic can enter and alchemize anything. I want to say that with my whole heart and being. Yet I also am very in tune with divine intervention. And so with that, I will answer by saying not necessarily. You can do your best, and as human, we can ride with it as far as we can take it, and especially if you align with your higher self when you are working a practice of whatever type of practice you're working. Um, and whether it's maintenance or creating change or trying to sustain the change, whatever it is in your life. However, as much as we do, there's something greater than us. And with divine intervention, with God source, whatever you want to call it, there is something where we only have so much control. And so, yes, we can wish it and manifest it and pray for it and make things happen because we do. We definitely do. So I don't want that to be muddied up. We definitely have so much power and more than any of us could ever imagine. However, there's the other side that we don't see. It's the unseen. And that's where there's something that is uncontrollable for us. And also, that's okay because we just have to know that as long as we do our best, everything else is going to fall in line where it needs to. And we can't stress or fear the unknown. We just have to live symbiotically with it.
Mm.
I hope that answers your question. I took it a different direction maybe than you thought I would.
Exactly. Exactly. That's a really, I should say goosebump worthy answer, because I wasn't expecting this, Samantha. I was expecting something more towards the the conventional holistic wellness, discussions.
Yeah.
That very, very beautiful,
Thank
connection that you created, because I definitely explored this aspect in another one of my podcast, which kind of bridges between the science and soul. We all we I believe in this, strongly believe in this, that you have to trust the process.
Mhm.
You're putting your efforts, you are scouring through multiple ways, trying to figure it out. You have done everything. Maybe you are doing it everything, but sometimes you have to kind of, surrender, and maybe not exactly literally let it go, but leave it to the divine or the cosmos or the universe, God. It can be anything.
Yes, and that's exactly what it is. And that can also pair with awareness and acceptance and acknowledgement. It's all like I say, a symbiotic dance where we do what we can in this one body that we're given in this lifetime, and then everything else is left up to just trust that the rest will match. But the most important takeaway here is, for any of us, is that whatever we do, we should work towards having the energy be aligned as best as we can, as often as we can with our higher self, because that is where the universe will match that height, that depth, that measurement, that frequency. And at that level, that's where the universe is like, "Oh, okay, you want to see your power? Here it is. This is the limitlessness that you've not really known about, but because you are showing us that this is what it is, this is where you are, then we're going to match that." And that's a very, very cool place to be. And it's very important for more people to understand this concept, because it's not just a concept, it's actual reality. But people think they don't really tend to see that or have the knowledge, or practice that enough. So it's but this is where it's at. You want to create change, sustainability, transformation. You want to live a big, beautiful life, that you'll leave a legacy for yourself. Then you want to sit in this space of aligning with higher self in every possible thing that you can do.
Definitely, definitely. Wow. And if our listeners they would like to connect with you, what would be the best way?
Sure. Well, I have a website. It's www.rootswingswellness.com, rootswingswellness.com. And my biggest social media page is Roots Wings Wellness on Instagram.
Awesome. I'll make sure to have all the links in the show notes for our listeners. And oh, Samantha, thank you so much for this beautiful, really practical conversation. And I really loved the way you reframed the aspects around mindfulness, and your framework. It's such an easy yet such a profound, kind of, a very practical way to look at embracing not only mindfulness but any kind of practices or tools that we have at our disposal. So thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you, Sana. It was a true, true pleasure. What a beautiful conversation. I loved our conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha, and to all the beautiful mindful listeners out there. If this episode resonated with you, I would encourage all of you to try one small shift to today, one baby step, maybe a mindful breath before your next meeting or call, maybe your date, or maybe that important conversation that you need to have with your loved one, or simply noticing your thoughts without judgment. And if you loved what you heard, please share this episode with someone who could use a little grounding. Thank you so much for joining us on the mindful journey. Until next time, keep choosing presence over perfection, one moment at a time. Thank you.